NXT returns tonight to Full Sail University, focused, refreshed, and Triple H showing everybody the reason why they are the #1 pro wrestling brand in North America. Damien Priest debuts tonight in one hell of a debut match. The NXT Breakout Tournament begins next week, and I wonder why the main roster can't do the same with their disgruntled locker room. Also, the Undisputed Era tonight celebrates Adam Cole, and they're going for all the gold. This is NXT right here on Off the Script.
5, delete! This is mine.
Alive with it. People still didn't. What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on the podcast. It is Wednesday, June 19th, 2019. This is NXT right here on Off the Script, the one place you can come after Monday and Tuesday suck so badly where everything's going to make a lot of sense. And there will be plenty of logic. NXT. Happy to be talking about NXT. Happy to be back at Full Sail. Happy to be back on the road to SummerSlam and take over Toronto, man. A lot to go over today, including some big stories coming out of the yellow brand. Top WWE prospect arrested in a sexual misconduct case. Matt Riddle. Was he punished? We're going to talk about it right here on the podcast. And both Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish out injured. What is the status and the nature of their injuries, and do they have a major match coming up SummerSlam weekend? We're going to go over all that plus so much more right here on the podcast. Make sure you guys are following me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram, you clowns. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon. Thank you guys so much for supporting the podcast through Patreon. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. It is completely optional. It is completely up to you. And it's the only way to get exclusive content not available on YouTube. Everybody that's on my Patreon team will be getting this very podcast like you do every single week in audio form. So what's up to you guys? Thank you so very much for joining me on Patreon. Make sure you guys go and check out all of this week's content. Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, and 2 incredibly boring go-home shows for WWE Stomping Ground. And if you missed Off the Script on Friday and Saturday of last weekend, Shane McMahon possibly headed towards a WWE Championship reign, and how to book Bray Wyatt after reports of his imminent debut. So we'll see what happens with that. We don't know if he's going to show up at Stomping Grounds. We don't know if he's going to show up on Monday Night Raw. WWE, all I know, is in deep trouble as far as ticket sales go. Zero interest as far as Stomping Grounds goes. And they're looking to sell tickets and generate any buzz and any interest they can for that show. I don't know what they're going to do, but Bray Wyatt may factor into all of that, which would be a big mistake. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys go to audibletrial.com/offthescript. They've been sponsoring us for over 3 years, and they've been very good to us, man. And it's a great way to support the podcast with Audible. You're going to go through the sign-up process. You're going to download the app on your iPhone and Android devices, both absolutely free. You're going to go through the sign-up process. Again, absolutely free. You will not be billed. And then you got 30 days free of Audible service. And as a thank you for signing up, you're going to get one free audiobook of your choice, no matter what category you want. Politics, sci-fi, romance, cooking, anything you want, man. Sports. It's all there on Audible. And in the sports category, clearly you got wrestling like you see there, man. Shawn Michaels, Jim Ross, Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan, so on and so forth. If you guys don't like Audible service and you guys just want to simply support the podcast, you can cancel at any time within the 30-day trial, and you still get to keep your audiobook for free. audibletrial.com/offthescript. I mentioned that there was a top WWE prospect that is being looked at as far as a sexual misconduct case, and if convicted, his WWE dreams could go bye-bye, man. They will be deleted. Now, I am not sure if you guys remember Gable Stevenson. There was video. I believe I seen it on Twitter. I'm not sure if you guys can still find it or if it's on YouTube. I vividly remember his name being brought up, and he was personally being trained by Brock Lesnar. Now, Brock Lesnar flew out, I believe, to Minnesota to go train him and work with him and work on what he needs help with. And it was a great thing to see. And it goes to show you the type of athlete and the type of mentality that Brock Lesnar has with everything that he's got going on for himself. That he's seen someone in his home state of Minnesota, and he wanted to personally go and train this individual, Gable Stevenson, and see what would become of it. And I admire that, and I think that's great. I remember seeing it on Twitter, and Brock Lesnar is not only involved with Gable Stevenson, but he was actually very heavily involved with Lars Sullivan. He flew out to the PC to actually work alongside Lars Sullivan because he's seen something in Lars Sullivan that Brock Lesnar really hasn't seen in anybody else on the WWE roster, and he willingly went to the Performance Center to work on whatever Dylan Miley needed to work on. And I think that, again, that's a very admirable quality in Brock Lesnar. The guy might have a knack for some talent, man, I don't know. But clearly, he's seen something in both Lars and now Gable Stevenson. Now, if the name sounds familiar, he's 21 years old, but there are reports going out that him and 21-year-old Dylan Martinez are the subjects of a criminal investigation. Both men are being held in suspicion of sexual misconduct. Now, there is no information on this. The report says that there is no information on this, and Dave Meltzer chimed in on this after stating that he got one-on-one training with Brock Lesnar not too long ago. This is a big sign that WWE saw huge potential in him. And Dave Meltzer said this, and I quote, "Yeah, by the 2020 Olympics, they thought that he would be a monster. Multiple-time NCAA champion. And of course, he hasn't done that yet. But you know, he was considered to be the best amateur wrestler to come out of the state of Minnesota, which is high praise, because a lot of great wrestlers have come out of Minnesota, but he was arrested this week. Details on the situation have not been released. He's been suspended. And I mean, if there's anything on him, that's it for him. It could easily be it for his WWE career. Another thing is it's awfully hard to come back from this type of situation. I'm not saying it's dead or that he can't go to the WWE, but if there's a conviction, I think he probably could not go and will not go to the WWE, and the WWE had their eyes on him since he was in high school. End quote. Terrible situation right here, man. Again, he has been taken under custody for an investigation. Nothing has been released as far as information goes. For all we know, he could be innocent, and this was just something that was a clear mess up. And I hope it is for his case. I'm not saying that if he wants to be in WWE, that he will never be in the WWE. But this certainly doesn't look good for one's record, especially if you are vying to be an NCAA collegiate champion. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I don't know what happened here, and I pray to God that nothing happens as far as his future career goes. If you are so mentally involved and you are pushing towards one goal, which would be this. After Brock Lesnar went out of his way to go and train with you, how many people can honestly say immediately coming out of college that Brock Lesnar's training me today because he believes in what I'm doing here and he wants to guide me and sees a future in me? How many people can honestly say that they were trained or Brock Lesnar flew out to Minnesota to personally have a one-on-one with you? And then this happens? You have to be a fucking idiot if you're going to throw all of that away, if you're going to throw your future away and aspirations of you possibly one day being a WWE wrestler. Awful. Just an awful, awful, awful career move. Now again, I'm not saying that he will never make the WWE. That certainly doesn't look good on your fucking record. But what a way to throw away your fucking career right now at the young age of 21. I figured this would be a big enough situation to talk about. While I was looking for NXT news, this actually popped up. And again, he is innocent until proven guilty. We can't really say anything on this, and I hope for his sake that it was a complete misunderstanding and someone else can take the blame for this shit. But man, what a dummy if he's actually guilty after Brock Lesnar went out of his way to do this. Just an awful situation, man. So hopefully for Gable Stevenson, this entire sexual misconduct case is something that he can quickly sweep under the rug. Matt Riddle. Something that Matt Riddle is going to continue sweeping under the rug. His attitude. And his attitude might have finally caught up with him, man. Matt Riddle on WWE's reaction to him calling out top stars. Matt Riddle has blasted Goldberg in the past couple weeks due to his terrible match with The Undertaker at WWE Super Letdown. And Riddle spoke with Talk Sport at the Download Festival on Saturday, where NXT right now is touring, and he talked about how the reaction has been from WWE officials. This is where Riddle recalled telling officials before he signed with the company and was placed in their developmental system, NXT, that this is his personality as he will tell people what is on his mind. He says this, and I quote, "Just like with the Goldberg stuff, I'm me. I let them know before I signed because I had opportunities to go work other places and we were discussing, and my thing was, I didn't want to let them down. I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm very honest, and even with Matt Bloom, we've gotten into it where I'm like, hey man, I think you're disrespecting me. And he's like, what? And we get into it, but then we're better afterwards because I don't hold anything back. I'm very honest. I'll talk, and I'll talk some shit. I'll say some stuff. But at the same time, it's usually true. I back it up, and I think they, WWE, respect that. I think if I was a bad worker and then I did everything that I do, then they'd be like, I hate this guy. But all the talents, like Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they know I'm legit as hell, and they love it. Same thing with William Regal and Robbie Brookside or anybody else. They all know it. End quote. Yeah, you could be talented, but you also have to abide by the fucking rules of social media. Social media could be your best friend, or it could be your worst enemy. Matt Riddle, while I appreciate him being Matt Riddle, and I would not want Matt Riddle to change, and I would not want Matt Riddle to not be honest with me, he is working for the WWE, which is a publicly traded company. And WWE has a massive social media reach. On Twitter, on Instagram, almost 50 million subscribers on YouTube. You can't be saying the things that Matt Riddle is saying and then not be reprimanded by the office when it comes down to Matt Riddle getting a push. If Goldberg is looked at in a specific way by WWE management and they respect Goldberg and they're looking at him as a WWE Hall of Famer and they're looking after him and, you know, him going out to Saudi Arabia and this and that, and then you look at somebody like The Undertaker or anybody in one of the legends' shoes, and this is Matt Riddle. What if somebody else is called upon? What if Hulk Hogan comes back and is on a WWE Super Showdown show because the Prince wants Hulk Hogan. Is Matt Riddle going to go on social media and say, Hulk Hogan's almost 70 years old, he should not be in the ring, brother? Get out of the ring, this is our time, enough hogging the spotlight, or whatever people usually say about Hulk Hogan. What happens then? This is a one-case situation. Yes, Matt Riddle, we all love his honesty. We all love who Matt Riddle is. We all know he is incredibly talented. We all know the sky's the limit. Guy can be the face of the fucking company if he wants. But Vince and everybody else, as long as Vince is breathing and alive, if Matt Riddle's behaving like this, his career will be over before it even starts. I've seen it. I've watched the fucking product for 30 years plus. I've seen it. I don't want Matt Riddle to have demons following him up to the main roster. If Vince sees this shit happening now, and he knows and remembers what Matt Riddle's doing now, his main roster run is going to be like, no way, Jose. We don't want that. Triple H is probably fanning the flames right now. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Matt Bloom, Robbie Brookside, William Regal, and everybody else involved see it happening now, and there's a reason why Matt Riddle could possibly be on the road to nowhere right now as a form of punishment. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to spoil anything for TakeOver Toronto, SummerSlam weekend, but I will say this. After what Matt Riddle did with Roderick Strong on TakeOver 25, one of the best matches of the entire year for the company itself, don't you think that he is on his way to being the NXT champion? Don't you think that after Gargano lost the championship, there's no rematches in NXT? There's no rematches for the title unless you're working your way back up to get that rematch. I figured that Johnny Gargano was one and done. The story was told. He won the title. There was no other way to go about it. Matt Riddle was hot, and Johnny Gargano has to step aside for the next guy in line, which would be Matt Riddle and Adam Cole. Adam Cole waited all these months, all these years to get the NXT Championship. It finally happened. It was the right time. I agree with the decision. Matt Riddle's next in line. Don't you think that's the next main event for TakeOver Toronto? Matt Riddle's not even on TakeOver Toronto. Matt Riddle doesn't even have a spot on NXT TakeOver Toronto SummerSlam weekend. That's all I will say about that. Now you know why. They punished him. Matt Riddle not moving up to the main roster anytime soon. His discussion about showing up and stopping Brock Lesnar, done. Done. If there was even a thought of Matt Riddle coming up to the main roster between now and WrestleMania and retiring Brock Lesnar, done. Dave Meltzer noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio, he said that he was told that Matt Riddle will be staying in NXT for a while because they want to take their time with him. What I was told, he says, and I quote, what I was told is Matt Riddle is going to be in NXT for a very long time. They don't want to rush him into anything. I was told that Triple H sees Riddle as someone who could be a big star on the main roster because of his look and his charisma, and he feels like he is someone even Vince McMahon would push. End quote. One side note about Matt Riddle is that he's been given more freedom with his promos. Also on social media, a lot of what he says is truly how he feels. He really doesn't, want to get in any trouble, but he really does want a match with Brock Lesnar at some point, even though there are no plans for that right away. And the company has asked him to tone down what he says on Twitter. Don't look for Matt Riddle to move up to the main roster anytime soon. In fact, as indicated by the recent NXT TV tapings, he's not even in line to challenge for a championship, and he's not even on TakeOver Toronto. He's not booked for the show at all. Maybe they save him for later on in the year. Maybe they save him for the last TakeOver of the year. Maybe they save him for the beginning of 2020. I don't know. But the simple fact that Matt Riddle, after what he did with Roddy at TakeOver 25, he's not on the next show and he's not challenging for a championship. Did they low-key punish him? Did what he said come back and bite him in the ass? It could be your best friend or it could be your worst enemy. I hope that this kind of resonates with Matt Riddle now. Triple H needs to get this under control. Now, I don't know. Whatever you say on social media, someone has it. Whatever you say on social media lives forever. I hope to God that when he makes the demotion to the main roster, when he gets demoted to the main roster, that A, either Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn are not there, or B, everything that he mentioned here about Bill Goldberg is completely forgotten. This is why Triple H is kind of fanning the flames here. They got a little bit too high. So here we go with Matt Riddle. Hopefully this does not come back to bite him in the ass. What is coming back to bite WWE in the ass is treating all of their talents miserably. Stephanie McMahon had a pep talk with NXT superstars telling them not to leave. WWE has a lot of tactics that they use to make sure that they got their message across to the superstars in the locker room. One thing that they can always do is rally everyone in a big room and make them sit through a presentation hosted by Stephanie McMahon, who is WWE's chief brand officer. During Wrestling is Over Radio, Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer spoke about a meeting that Stephanie McMahon had with NXT superstars before the recent set of TV tapings. WWE taped on Wednesday, and they taped again consecutively 8 hours of television in 1 week. So there you go. This was said to be a typical rah-rah speech for WWE and Stephanie McMahon, but there was an underlying message here. It was said that superstars can choose their own brands in WWE on a personal level. It was said that they have control over how they are represented on social media. There you go. Mentioned it again. You have control over how you are represented on social media. Do you want to be on the good side of WWE, or do you want to be on the bad side of WWE, where the shovel and the dirt are awaiting you? So you have control over how you're represented on social media and how influential the WWE brand is to help them succeed. Dave Meltzer expanded on the company's reason for making a big social media presentation before the NXT tapings last week. He says this, and I quote, "They are trying to convince people not to leave with the idea that your career is over when you do leave. They're trying to convince the fans of it too, like they're doing a lot of subtle things like that stuff with the local wrestlers, like on 205 Live, with the idea of like you're not in WWE, then you look like as a joke. The YOLO County Tag Team Championships or something like that. Yeah, they're trying to get this on TV. It's WWE or it doesn't count. You're not in wrestling. They used to do this before when Cody Rhodes left, like your career is over the minute you leave. And most of these guys were believing it then, but now none of them are believing it anymore, and the guys who are leaving are all happier, and they've gone on to bigger and better things, and now it's kind of out there and exposed." End quote. The fact of the matter is that there are really only so many spots on the roster, but WWE keeps signing new superstars because they want them, so others do not have them. Vince McMahon is collecting superstars like a fucking toy closet, and he's running out of room on his shelf to display all of his shiny new toys, man. So, Stephanie McMahon is trying to get across the fact of if you are not in WWE, then you're missing out, or you're not going to be successful, or you're not in pro wrestling. I'm sorry, when did WWE all of a sudden become pro wrestling? WWE and pro wrestling don't mesh. Pro wrestling is on the bottom rung of the ladder as far as priorities in WWE. It's appeasing the old man, making him laugh, and entertainment. Entertainment. Wrestling is down here. Doesn't really matter. This is nothing more than someone who is in a huge position of power telling all of the workers in the locker room, all the employees in the locker room, don't go anywhere. We promise it's going to get better. But it's not. It's not going to get better. All you have to do is watch the fucking shows on Monday and Tuesday. It's not going to get better. The only way it is going to get better is by you know what. And that's not happening anytime soon. The man will live till he's 100, and he will be in a fucking office chair with a fucking feeding tube, zombified, still booking these shows. Stephanie McMahon is out of her mind. You can try, but are you going to really convince someone who has eyes and ears of their own? Are you really going to convince someone who sees what's happening to everybody that got called up from NXT. Are you really going to convince somebody with a good pair of eyes on what's happening on Monday and Tuesday night? This could be you. Meanwhile, Adam Cole says, I don't really see a main roster promotion as a promotion. I don't see leaving NXT as a good thing to go to Raw and SmackDown. When you have your own fucking world champion saying that, why would you want to go? I don't get it. Stephanie McMahon can try all she wants. WWE management, Vince, and everybody else can offer 5-year contracts with X amount of money. You can make all the amount of money you want. You can feed your family for 7 lifetimes. It doesn't matter. You are not going to convince someone with eyes and ears that WWE is the place to be when we all see and hear all of the horror stories coming out of WWE Creative. Why would anybody stay with WWE when one of their own, who's been in the middle of everything for 6-7 years, went and left after being offered so much money to stay? He went on Jericho's podcast and exposed everything. Why would they stay? Why would they stay? After NXT, why would you stay? Everybody needs to know, and everybody should know by now, that NXT is great. But once you hit that ceiling, that's it. There's no other ceiling after NXT. Jon Moxley exposed all of that. Why would you want to put yourself through that situation? Those men and women in the locker room, if they have an inkling of a fucking thought about leaving, they're gone. The worse WWE gets, AEW becomes stronger. Unless they could stay in NXT and NXT starts offering main roster-like contracts, I don't see anybody staying because Stephanie McMahon said so. Ridiculous. These pep talks and these rah-rah speeches aren't going to work. People in the industry, people in the wrestling business are a lot smarter than they were 10, 15 years ago, Miss McMahon. Come on. If someone wants to leave, they are going to leave. They don't need WWE. AEW is clearly showing you that WWE is not the only game in town. WWE is not the end-all be-all. Come on over here. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently, and you might like it. Away from that corporate bullshit known as World Wrestling Entertainment. Triple H going all out for TakeOver Toronto. And I mean that, pun intended. NXT held its television tapings this past week. And I will not reveal anything here because A, I didn't read the spoilers, and B, I want to be surprised as to how everything transpires, being that they taped 8 weeks of television. Now, WrestleVotes said that Triple H went all out for the next NXT TakeOver show, and that will be, pun intended. Let's wait and see how loaded of a card they are able to put together, but if I am a betting man, and Triple H knows that NXT TakeOver is happening in the same month as TakeOver UK, you got the G1, you got SummerSlam, and then you got that little show in Chicago from those boys over in AEW called All Out. All Out. Now, the G1, I don't know when the G1 gets started. I'm kind of interested in watching this year, so we'll see what happens there, but I always say that and I never do anything as far as content goes. But I don't know when the G1 starts. I believe it starts in August, and it kind of gets to the most important stages around SummerSlam time, third or fourth week, early fourth week of the month of August. So, excluding that, Triple H is leading off. Triple H is leading off. You know, the leadoff position is probably the most important position in the lineup. Out of 1 and 9, you got 9 people in that lineup. Number 1 is the most important because he's going to be the one to set the table. He's going to be the one to create momentum so that the number 2, the number 3, and then the number 4, 5, 6 hitters, that middle, that meat of the lineup, can feast and generate runs. Triple H is in the leadoff position here with NXT TakeOver UK, and then SummerSlam, and then All Out going on last. Don't you think Triple H is going to be like, follow this, motherfucker? Triple H knows he's batting first in this lineup, and he's going to put on a show that All Out is going to have a very difficult time coming close to. It may come close, but more times than not, NXT TakeOver is just the best wrestling show of the entire year. 6 times out of the year, 5 times out of the year, however many they have. This is a position Triple H relishes. I love his mentality with NXT. If the last show is great, the next show has to be even better. Simple as that. You better yourself every show. If we didn't do a better job than the last show we did, we failed. That's the mentality here. There's no doubt in my mind the man is going to go all out, legitimately, for TakeOver Toronto. Kyle O'Reilly pulled from major NXT event due to injury. Kyle O'Reilly announced this week that he was been pulled for a back injury. This is terrible timing because I do believe, if I am a betting man, I would say that the Undisputed Era, O'Reilly, Fish, or anybody outside Adam Cole are definitely going to be a major part of the show. Now, hopefully he will be okay by the time SummerSlam weekend rolls around, but he did take to Twitter this week and announced that WWE's medical staff has now pulled him from the upcoming Download Festival. The medical man told me my back is still hurt, so unfortunately I won't be able to attend Download Fest this year. I'm sorry to all the great UK fans. Believe me, I'm gutted to be missing Tool, but at least now Rick Boogs has an actual chance of winning the air guitar contest. You know what NXT needs? Seriously, we need more Rick Boogs on NXT. Eric Bugenhagen had his name changed to Rick Boogs. It's more of a real-life take on who he is. He loves metal. He loves air guitaring. He's a musician. I think NXT needs more Rick Boogs on TV. Hopefully we see that in the next couple of weeks. Now, it's understandable why Kyle O'Reilly would be upset by this news. If he has to miss Tool, so be it. Tool is overrated. I've never, ever liked Tool's music. But that's just me. They're one of those progressive bands that I just cannot get into. I don't know what it is. I enjoy progressive music, Symphony X, Dream Theater, shit like that. But Tool, I never got into. Now, hopefully, him missing Tool is the least of his worries. I hope that he's back for TakeOver Toronto, and whatever the Undisputed Era have planned, he is good to go. Speaking of his partner, Bobby Fish, he was also pulled from all upcoming events. Fish had been pulled from Evolve 129 and Evolve 130 on June 29th and 30th, respectively. Now, this isn't a good sign, but he needs to rest up, and hopefully whatever is wrong with him, if anything, will be cleared up by TakeOver Toronto, just like Kyle O'Reilly. Evolve released an official statement on the matter detailing the decision to pull Fish from action at the event, but he will still be there. Not only will Bobby Fish be there, but so will Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. They will be doing a meet and greet, but Adam Cole will not be in attendance. Now, Bobby Fish, this is coming from the Evolve website. We're sorry to inform you that Bobby Fish will no longer be in action at Evolve 129 and Evolve 130. However, Fish will still be there to do meet and greets. This is your chance to get pictures and autographs with Fish, Strong, and O'Reilly of Undisputed Era. Go to WWNlive.com, and that's the shop for all your pricing info. Simple as that. So, I don't even know where these shows are happening, but if you guys are interested in attending, there's the ticket website for all your information, and they will still be there, but you just won't see them in action in the ring on both of those shows, which by WWE standards is completely understandable. If they are going to have a major part of the show, possibly for the NXT Tag Team titles, imagine a match with the Undisputed Era and the Street Profits. I think that would be fucking fantastic. If they're going to be a major part of the show in Toronto, this is something that should not bother you whatsoever, and you cannot blame WWE. Simple as that. They're looking out for their superstars, and they're looking out for what is more important. Even though NXT is working with Evolve, TakeOver clearly is more important. So hopefully Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are good to go by TakeOver Toronto. Harrys.com/script, man. Go to harrys.com/script for your $13 value trial set. Harrys.com/script. They've been a partner of the podcast for over 2 years now, probably more than that. Going on 3 years now. Harry's is going to give you the best shave of your life, and I want you guys to be one of the 10 million plus that have utilized Harry's for all your shaving needs, man. What you're going to get is the following. You're going to get a razor handle. Choice of color is yours. The navy blue, the orange, or the evergreen. Razor blade. And it comes with a lubricating strip for a close, comfortable shave. A generous 2-ounce bottle of their foaming shave gel, which soothes, hydrates, and it smells fantastic. And you guys are going to get a travel cover as well. If you're a man on the go, if you're a man of business that needs to travel for work, or if you're simply spending time over your girl's house and you need to shave before you go out for a night on the town, man. That is what you're going to get. And you can get yours today by going to harrys.com/script. Once again, that is harrys.com/script. Right here for NXT on Off the Script. Man, I hope you guys know what you watched tonight with NXT. I really hope that you guys watched very closely. The open to NXT tonight included the Undisputed Era, Tyler Breeze, the Velveteen Dream, and one Matt Riddle that we talked about earlier on the podcast tonight. The show started off in the same way that a Monday Night Raw and a SmackDown Live would start off. Are you following me? I hope so. NXT tonight started off with 6 men in the very same manner that Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live would start off. It even led to a 6-man tag team match in the main event. So why am I not complaining about NXT doing typical WWE things that we see every week on Monday and Tuesday? But when we see them on Monday and Tuesday, all we do is bitch and complain. Why is that? Why is that? The answer is simple, people. It's because, A, NXT rarely goes about doing what they did tonight. They rarely go about 6 men in the open, and it leads to a big 6-man tag team match in the main event. They rarely do something that the main roster is doing. So for the simple fact that they don't really ever do it, they're allowed to get away with it. Because it's not every single week. Another reason why, and probably the most important reason why, we didn't really give a shit that NXT followed the mentality of Raw and SmackDown today with their first set of TV tapings tonight. Every single one of those men is someone that we are emotionally invested in. You see, this is what Vince McMahon doesn't understand. They're putting characters on TV that we cared about at one point and we don't care about anymore because of shitty WWE booking and illogical fucking garbage. WWE does it every week. Same old fucking script every single week. Same formula every single week. To a point where we can't take it anymore. We're not invested in those characters anymore. The fact that you constantly beat down all of your heels and all of your baby faces, they don't come across like a Matt Riddle or a Velveteen Dream or an Adam Cole who owns the fucking camera, or Kyle O'Reilly with as much charisma as he has, and Roderick Strong, who's on another fucking level right now, and Bobby Fish, who compliments everybody. Is it that fucking difficult to figure out, folks? Look at the opening segment and ask yourself why you're invested in the open when it's the same shit that we see on Monday and Tuesday, but on Wednesday, when NXT does it, we're not complaining. Just want to throw that out there. Want to throw it out there, man. NXT tonight was on another level. Wasn't the greatest NXT episode I've ever seen. But they know, Triple H knew, that they needed to come out swinging. And I honestly feel like the influence of AEW is going to make Triple H remain a step ahead of the game. I think it's going to make the entirety of NXT better. Because he knows he has now direct competition to his audience. You think Triple H is going to bend over and fucking say, hey, you know what, come on in. There's room for you guys here in the little niche that we call NXT and the hardcore fan base. No, Triple H is not going to do that. So Triple H came out knowing that they had 2 weeks off, because that's exactly what we got with NXT. They had 2 weeks off, even though we got a TV show last week, and even though we got matches the week before last week, emanating from TakeOver 25. It was realistically 2 weeks off of NXT TV. You think Triple H is going to come out and, we're 8 weeks away from SummerSlam. It's fine. We'll get there. He's going to come out. He's going to give you exactly what you deserve as far as NXT. Look at all the talent he's sitting on. Look at what they did tonight. Look at the logic that they used tonight. Look at the fucking risks that they're taking. Look at the way that they're differentiating themselves from anything else that you're seeing in WWE. They came out focused. They came out refreshed. They came out all guns blazing. They knew they needed to set the table for what you're going to see in August, and they did exactly that tonight. It was like, I don't want to say a new era of NXT, but it certainly felt like we're moving to another level of NXT. We're moving on from everybody that we've seen, Ricochet and Aleister Black and everybody else, the Garganos, the Ciampas. We're moving on to the next class. That's exactly the way I felt tonight. Even though Gargano and Ciampa are gonna fit right into this thing seamlessly when they have something to do. But I just felt like it was a reinvigorated product tonight, just based off a lot of different factors. So NXT started off tonight, and I love the open. I thought the open was fantastic. It was fun. It was exciting. Undisputed Era make their way out to the ring. Adam Cole has his newly won NXT championship around his waist. Cole has the microphone, one of the best guys on the stick in the WWE. Says they're taking over, and him winning the title from Johnny Gargano was the first step for Undisputed Era to have all the gold. Anyone who gets in their way will be dealt with. And I love the fact that Adam Cole mentioned what he mentioned tonight. When Undisputed Era does something, they don't wait around and wait for their opportunity. They seek the head of wherever they are. They seek the top of the mountain. They seek the top guy, and they go after them. And if anybody has a fucking problem with that, you'll be dealt with accordingly. I'm going to remember that when Adam Cole and Undisputed Era make their way to Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live. I want to see what he said here tonight come to fruition when they get demoted to Raw and SmackDown. So whomever the champion is, whether it's Roman or Seth or Brock or AJ, whomever it may be, Kofi, Daniel, I want to see Undisputed Era come in and go right for the top dog on Raw or SmackDown. Anyone who gets in their way will be dealt with. Cole said they have a plan on changing NXT's image, and then they kicked it off to the Titantron. And my God, man, I smiled from ear to ear watching the opening that they created for themselves for NXT's Open. You know how NXT starts off with the Slipknot song and all the images of everybody on the roster? Just imagine the same song with highlights of Undisputed Era, all in the image of Undisputed Era. It was fucking amazing. A video package that blows away anything that I've recently seen on NXT and the WWE. It was a fucking thing of beauty, man. I love it. Risks, creativity, difference compared to Raw and SmackDown. And there is humor in that, and it's not fucking cringe or cheesy. I loved it. O'Reilly says, in his charismatic way, as only Kyle O'Reilly could say, he says, it was just a little something that I threw together last night. And I laughed, because there's no reason why you shouldn't laugh. It's great shit. So, everybody started chanting, "Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle." Cole reiterates that the stable will have all the gold and all the power in 2019. He says nobody in the locker room, William Regal, or even, and he name-dropped, Triple H, will be able to stop them. Velveteen Dream comes on out, and he says, Adam, nobody can touch you. The Dream would like to touch you. So, again, It plays into his character. It's not overly fucking eye-rolling or cringe. It's great. It fits in the whole theme of the Velveteen Dream. See what I did there? Yeah. Dream says Cole looks good with the gold, but it would look amazing on him along with his North American Championship. Strong then gets on the microphone. Hint, hint. Hint, hint. Strong gets on the microphone, tells Dream, says he should dream on, and he doesn't deserve the title he's currently wearing. Matt Riddle comes out. His music hits. He stands there next to Velveteen Dream, who obviously had a one-on-one match with the Dream back earlier in the year. He reminds both Strong and Cole he's beaten both of them. Cole responds, Riddle, you run your mouth about things that you don't know. And Matt Riddle then interrupted Adam Cole and says he knows he's insanely good-looking and a stallion. Again, I laughed, and it fits into Matt Riddle's just overall character. I love it. Cole tells him to shut up and says Riddle is jealous of him and all the titles he's ever worn. He reminds Riddle every time he gets a title shot that he drops the ball. He says to Matt Riddle that he drops the ball and should probably go back to writing reviews on the internet of Attitude Era wrestlers. And the crowd broke out into a chant of Goldberg. At this point, Adam Cole tried to get out whatever he wanted to say next. And I was watching this with eyes wide open. And Adam Cole wanted to smile and laugh so much that he had to hold it back to remain in his heel persona. I thought it was fucking fantastic. Tyler Breeze then comes on out. Tyler Breeze, I mentioned how Tyler Breeze had probably the most important match of his career against the Velveteen Dream. It's amazing. Tyler Breeze, 2 months ago, was sitting in catering, and if he was on Monday Night Raw, he would undoubtedly be a part of the fucking 7-Eleven title chase that's happening. Slurpee on the side with a fucking hot dog, chili, and extra mustard title. He would be chasing that fucking thing around, dressing in drag. And here he is. Here he is on NXT in the fucking main event with the Velveteen Dream, Matt Riddle, and the Undisputed Era. You talk about a resurgence, you talk about a fucking do-over. My God. Everybody should be as lucky as Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze says he doesn't care about who's undisputed or who's the best looking. And then he looks into the camera and says, even though it's me. And everybody broke out with a Tyler is gorgeous chant. Breeze says what he cares about is the Undisputed Era trying to take credit for building a brand that he built long before any of them were around in NXT. Breeze then says he spoke with William Regal. This is why he's out here. And it's going to be me, Dream, and Riddle, us three against you three. And that's in the main event tonight on NXT. This was great. This was great. Not only are you getting Tyler Breeze and the Velveteen Dream, who went one-on-one for the North American Championship on the same team. You got Matt Riddle, who went one-on-one with the Velveteen Dream for the North American Championship. So Velveteen Dream is on a team of wrestlers that he had successfully defended his title against. Tyler Breeze wants to show everybody in the Undisputed Era, who apparently run NXT now, that you don't run anything. I was doing this before you guys were even Undisputed Era. Then you got Riddle and his situation with Roderick Strong and the fact that he's beaten both Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. And the Velveteen Dream, who's the North American Champion, who is wearing a championship that is right underneath the World Championship. That's their version of the Intercontinental Championship. That title signifies that that's who's next in line for the NXT Championship. Everything here fits perfectly. And everything here has a meaning. Why is it so difficult for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live to do that? I didn't feel insulted. I didn't feel like I was being treated like an idiot. Everything that I was watching, I didn't feel like it was just thrown together for the sake of a cool main event or, just let's get this out there and we're not going to really focus on the TakeOver show in August. Right now, we got 8 weeks. Don't worry about it. We'll start building in like week 5, week 6. No. Everything has a meaning. Everything has a purpose. You're on TV. You have TV time. you better make the most. No matter if you're a wrestler or if you're writing this shit, you better make the most of every fucking minute. That's why I love NXT. That's why I love NXT. We've seen a recap of Baszler and Shirai and their feud for the steel cage match next week. Absolutely fantastic video package. Loved it. Can't wait to see what they do. I'm hearing from people in the crowd or people that I know that were in the crowd, one of the best matches of the year as far as storytelling goes. So I can't wait to see what happens there. By the way, shout out to Kedrick. I know he's listening. If you guys seen an off the script, huge poster in the crowd, black background, off the script logo, #1 podcast on YouTube. That was Kedrick. I went to the set of NXT tapings that I attended with him, and he was sitting right in front of me, and I want to thank him for showing his supports all these years for what I do, and hopefully somebody in the back seen that and got a kick out of that, man. So thank you so very much to him. Moving on here, man, we got Raul Mendoza and Damien Priest, formerly known as Punishment Martinez. And as you guys see on the screen, Damien Priest, I mentioned this last week, reminds me of Deacon Frost from the movie Blade. Now, Damien Priest could definitely fill into the role of evil vampire in a Blade movie. That's exactly what he reminds me of, man. Lives in the night, he's a night dweller, wearing all black. The name goes perfectly, too, with the imagery. I think it's great. My buddy Kedrick, who was in the crowd, he mentioned last week when he was at the set of TV tapings, he DM'd me, you're going to love Deacon. Oh, here I go. I'm mistakenly now calling him Deacon. Damien, you're going to love Damien Priest and his entrance. I watched this, and I got to tip my cap to Triple H, man. I love the entrance. I love the theme. I love the imagery. Yes, it kind of toes the line between good and evil. And you conspiracy theorists out there are probably going to piece it together. Damien Priest, you got the son of fucking Satan. And then all good in Priest to kind of, clashing together there with the name. So the conspiracy theorists are probably going to have fun with that one. But I thought the imagery was fantastic. I loved when he came out and the spotlight was on him. And the different camera angles that they did and shot during his entrance. I don't even know if it was because I was just so engrossed in what was going on. One spotlight, black arena, spotlight was on him, but the different camera angles made it kind of visually as if he was like shifting and the spotlight was over there, and then it was over here, and then it was over there. So it was almost as if it was mimicking as if he was moving. But it wasn't. He stayed in the center. And then he moved up a little on the ramp. He had his back to the ring, and he did a bow and arrow shot, and he let go, and on the screen, his name engulfed in fire. Damien Priest in big fucking fiery letters on the Titantron. That was fucking awesome. Then he gets in the ring, he does it again, he does the whole bow and arrow thing up to the ceiling, and the screen that's above the ring, his name is up there too. His name is up there too. Shoots the bow and arrow, and it explodes. Damien Priest on the screen above the ring. I thought it was fucking fantastic. Raul Mendoza is NXT's #1 enhancement talent. Great hand. I could see him having a really good run on 205 Live. In this case, he tried his best. He did beat. Who did he beat? He beat, what's his fucking name? I can't think of him right now. Oh my goodness. I can't think of him. He was with Tino Sabatelli, Riddick Moss. It's been a long day, people. It's been a long day. He beat Riddick Moss last time we seen him on NXT. Someone who I also have high hopes in, Riddick Moss. I think he looks great. I think the gimmick is really well done, and it fits into who he is. I want to see more of him as well. But he did beat Riddick Moss, and he tried his hand here with Damien Priest, but it wasn't enough. Mendoza, he walked the fucking top rope in this match. He was on the top rope, and he legitimately tightrope walked, hands free, the top rope, and he landed a drop kick that sent Priest to the outside. Unbelievable spot. Priest is on the outside. Mendoza dives. Priest obviously catches him, slams him, choke slams him, and throws him onto the apron. He throws Mendoza in the ring. Mendoza with a big spinning kick, rolling cutter. That was it. Over. That was it. Mendoza got hit with that big spinning kick, and then that rolling cutter. Doesn't have a name yet, but we had Mauro Ranallo call it a rolling cutter, and that was it. 1, 2, 3. Damien Priest. Listen, it might not be for everybody, but he's got a great look. He's from New York, so I'm a fan. And the imagery and everything else is there to be a successful talent in WWE that's going to get over with the fans. Entrance and theme music are very big components to a successful WWE career. They obviously nailed it. Hats off to Triple H. I absolutely loved it. And I hope to see more of Damien Priest. And I hope that translates into what he does in the ring. We can sit here and praise with the entrance and the theme music and how he acted coming out to the ring and how the crowd recepted Damien Priest. But it's about what happens in the ring. You're in NXT. You have to deliver a certain level of what we expect. And I hope that everything that we've seen translates to what happens in the ring. Priest wins by pinfall. William Regal announces an 8-superstar single elimination NXT Breakout Tournament featuring talents who have yet to appear on NXT TV. The group includes ACH, who's now known as Jordan Miles, Boa, Cameron Grimes, who was also known as Trevor Lee, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Shane Strickland, Dexter Loomis, that's Sam Shaw, Bronson Reed, he is formerly known as Jonah Rock, Angel Garza is Humberto Garza, and Joaquin Wilde, formerly known as DJZ. I can't fucking wait. This is an unbelievable field of talent, some of which I know, some of which that I've called matches for in the past, and Jonah Rock, Sam Shaw, and Angel Garza are going to be guys that I have not seen before in the ring. I want to see what they do here. And I ask myself, NXT and WWE itself is overflowing with talent. Why is it so easy for NXT to come up with something here that is going to get everybody TV time? They're going to get their shit in. People are going to appreciate what they are. It's going to be a preview and a coming attraction of what they're going to be able to do in NXT and what they're going to be giving us as they are in NXT. Why is it so difficult for WWE to do something like this with all their disgruntled talent? This is a brilliant idea, a simple idea that should have come up like that on Raw and SmackDown, and it's being done in NXT. Don't you think it would be something really great for all the people that aren't being used on Raw and SmackDown to be put into an 8 or 16-man tournament? And the winner gets a title shot of any world title of his choosing. I don't get it. Which could also be known as the King of the Ring. This is NXT version of King of the Ring. This is exactly what King of the Ring should be. Talent that you don't know, talent that's up and coming, talent that's going to be given the time to show us what they're made of. And the winner of this, I'm assuming, is going to get a title shot. This is the King of the Ring. This is the King of the Ring for NXT. I can't wait to see what happens. I think it's fantastic. Mia Yim. There was a vignette for Mia Yim. She talks about growing up in Southern California, being in a mixed family, black and Korean, and not being accepted by others during that time of her life. Thanks to that experience, she learned how to be on her own and how to be a leader. After 10 years in the Indies, she feels she's ready to take on NXT, protect those that need to be protected, and to fight for those who really need to be fought. Yim also called out Shayna Baszler, and she promises to take down Shayna Baszler's reign as NXT Women's Champion. This was great because Mia Yim was someone who, in this vignette, also talked about growing up in Southern California where there was a lot of gang warfare going on, and she really described the scene right outside her home as being a war zone. And it was not a really safe environment for anybody to be in or around. And it was a racial thing. And now I know who Mia Yim is. I now know who Mia Yim is as far as what she's trying to portray, why this Korean/black woman is on my television and she's coming out dressed like she is getting ready to rob a bank. It's the influence of where she grew up, and she detailed that in this vignette. And I can't tell you how important this was for Mia Yim to have something like this, to get her brand and her personality and her backstory out there to everybody. This is exactly what most talents need that we don't really know of. This did Mia Yim so much good, I can't even put it into words. Because I've been one to tell you guys on here that I just don't get Mia Yim. I've said it word for word. I don't get Mia Yim. I don't know what Mia Yim is supposed to be. I don't know who she's supposed to be. Why is she on my TV, and why are you putting her there and not giving me an explanation as to why she is and who she is and why I should care? This is exactly what they needed to do. So kudos to WWE. We'll see if it gets me more invested in Mia Yim, but at least I now know who she is, and I could piece that with her persona on NXT. Great shit. Tenora Conti versus Xia Li. Conti Tenora Conti versus Xia Li. This one really wasn't all that good. It was more of a showcase match to show you who else is up and coming in the women's division. Xia Li won via pinfall. Conti with a bunch of punches, went for a cover. Conti then says Xia Li face first into the corner. Conti runs in, nobody home there. Xia Li counters with a leg sweep. More kicks. Li gets sent into the corner, leaps from the second to third rope and leaps over Conti. Conti turns around, ducks the first kick, but eats a heel kick that comes in immediately after the first one missed. Xia Li went for the cover, and that was it. Crowd was pretty much silent for this. Xia Li, I could see that WWE is very high, or NXT, I should say, is very high on Xia Li. She has been featured on their programming every now and then, you know, and by that alone, you can sense that they have some sort of direction for her. Tenora Conti, there's something genuine about her. I know she comes off as this, you know, martial artist and the first Brazilian to be signed with the WWE, but there's a very genuine nature about her that is very likable, and I want to like her. I just need something like they did with Mia Yim for Tenora Conti. I need to know who she is and why I should invest my time in what she's trying to do and who she is. So we'll see what happens. But Xia Li got the best of this one. She beats Tenora Conti with a spinning back kick, and that was it. Street Profits, they were doing their thing outside of the PC, outside of Full Sail University, and they have a match with the Forgotten Sons next week on NXT. Looking forward to that. Should be a good one. Next week, we got Joaquin Wilde versus Angel Garza in the first round of the NXT Breakout Tournament. I heard that was an unbelievable match. I can't wait to see what happened with that. In the main event, Matt Riddle, Velveteen Dream, and Tyler Breeze versus Adam Cole, baby. Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong. And I don't really have much to say about this because you knew it was going to be fucking great. And that's exactly what it was. But the two things I want to focus on here about this match before we get to what caused the ending and what caused the Undisputed Era to win this one. I want you guys to watch the interactions between the Velveteen Dream before he absolutely blasted Bobby Fish in the face with a moonsault off the second rope. Now I know why Bobby Fish might be out, because that looked fucking terrible. Good for Dream. I'm glad Dream can do things that we normally don't see Dream doing. But man, he blasted Bobby Fish in the face with that moonsault. His knee hit him right in the fucking face. I don't know if he's got a broken nose, or a broken jaw, or a possible concussion. We don't know. But there was an instance in which the Velveteen Dream was going at it with Roddy, I believe, and the fucking intensity in that ring, and all six guys being just alpha males, just going at it. There was a level of intensity and there was a level of competition in that ring that translated to me. I'm watching everything transpire between these six, and you can tell that they love their fucking job. You can tell that they love being there. And it shows. Some of the shit you see on the main roster, they don't even enjoy what they're doing. They don't enjoy the storylines that they're in. They don't want to be in the ring. and they just go through the motions. These guys continue to get better every single time we see them. And when they're in the ring together, they're making each other better. And I seen that with Dream and Roddy. And I can envision that being a hell of a fucking match at TakeOver in Toronto, if that is where they're going with this. So that's the one thing I want to point out there. Number 2 is the ending. There was a nice back and forth between Adam Cole and Matt Riddle, which is kind of a cock tease, even though I know he's not on the TakeOver show. But it's kind of a cock tease to know what these two guys can actually do in that type of match for the title. So hopefully one day soon. So at the end of this thing, Tyler Breeze gets the hot tag. He's blasting the Undisputed Era. He's just on a roll. House on fire is Tyler Breeze. Then all of a sudden, when Tyler Breeze is about to, I think, just jump over the top rope with a tope or a suicide dive, Velveteen Dream tags himself in. So Breeze stops what he's doing. Him and Dream start arguing back and forth. Dream and Breeze are arguing. Cole, who's on the outside, he was about to take a suicide dive from Tyler Breeze. He runs over to Matt Riddle on the outside. He sees Matt Riddle getting back up on the apron to possibly tag himself back in. Jumps up on the apron, super kicks Matt Riddle off the apron. You got Dream and Tyler Breeze double super kicking Adam Cole off the ring apron. That takes him out. They go back to arguing. Roderick Strong is there watching this. Jumps up, he knees Tyler Breeze. Breeze, from the force of Roderick Strong's knee, it propels him into Dream. Roderick Strong was the legal guy, Dream was the legal guy. He does the end of Heartache, and he pins the North American champion. This is another one of those things in which I would have complained about on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. Why are the champions losing? Why is your North American champion losing on television? But the differences between NXT and the main roster is Velveteen Dream has a string of victories. Velveteen Dream is a very strong champion. Velveteen Dream is at a point right now where if he loses a non-title match, not really going to do anything to him. And in this instance, he didn't lose one-on-one. Dream didn't lose because he's not capable of beating Roderick Strong or an Adam Cole or a Bobby Fish. He lost because of a miscue, and he lost because of his own tag team partners. Roderick Strong took advantage of that. Roderick Strong pinned the North American champion. Roderick Strong's going to take that, and he's going to gloat about it, and he's going to go to Regal and say, listen, I just pinned the North American champion. If I continue doing what I need to do, I think I'm in line for a North American Championship match. Whether that happens before TakeOver or at TakeOver remains to be seen. But I didn't mind this, because the Velveteen Dream, not only Dream, but NXT's champions are dominant champions. NXT's champions rarely wrestle on the main show on Wednesdays, and NXT champions don't lose unless it's their time to lose. NXT champions are strong. So Roderick Strong beating the Velveteen Dream in a miscue 6-man tag team match with Tyler Breeze is okay by me. I have no issue with that. Neither should you. So don't harp on me, oh, JD's showing favoritism to NXT. NXT does everything right. So when they do something that you find similar to the main roster, you're not allowed to blast NXT because they don't do it all the time. I don't even know the last time I remember seeing something like this. Champion losing on TV. So the simple fact that I seen it tonight, I'm okay with it. And I'm excited about Roddy and him getting a title shot, the match that he and Dream could possibly put on. I'm excited about the Undisputed Era having all the gold. It's a great time to be a fan of NXT, man. I feel like there's a freshness in the air. I feel like there's a reinvigoration of just showing everybody why they're the best in NXT. Whether that's AEW or whether that's just Triple H being fucking frustrated with the main roster, and he knows and feels our frustrations, and he's like, don't worry, guys, I got you. Just watch me on Wednesdays. I got you. This is the way the main roster's going to be when I take over. But for now, I got you on Wednesdays. Whatever it may be, I don't know. Undisputed Era wins. End of Heartache on Dream by Roddy for the victory. Undisputed Era celebrate as Riddle, Breeze, and Dream all look on, frustrated at each other. That's the way NXT went off the air. Great show tonight. Can't wait for next week. NXT, man, if you're not watching, you're going to be missing out on some great shit. Wash your mouth out with NXT after Raw and SmackDown just continue to produce terrible fucking television. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that thumbs up. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys turn on the bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Audibletrial.com/offthescript for your 30-day free trial and free audiobook. Harrys.com/script for your $13 value trial sets. Harrys.com/script. And make sure you guys go and check out all the other videos this week. Raw, SmackDown, and if you missed NXT last weekend for episode 278. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much. I'll see you back here on Friday for episode 279. We got Stomping Grounds. Who gives a shit? I'll see you guys later.